Whoa, what's popping? What's popping? Welcome to Hot Takes with Chedda Chaz, but there's no hand holding. We deal with fast, not emotion. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification if you haven't already. Shout out to Miller Lite, DraftKings, and Topo Chico. You guys should support them because they support us. Yo, please pardon my new mustache. I was lining it up in the mirror, right? And I fucked it up. And I had too much off one side, so I just had to cut the whole thing off. Now I look like one of them people that they send you a picture of when they move into your neighborhood. But anyway, right? The Pelicans are back from All-Star break. I think it was a much needed break for everyone, for the fan base, for us who cover the team, for the Pelicans especially. You saw a couple of guys showing signs of tired legs there. And some of those same people are going to be under pressure to perform this second half. I hate the look at it like it's the halfway mark. It's not the halfway mark. I will say this final leg of the season, because I find myself saying the halfway mark too. We've been across the halfway point. This final leg of the season. Some of those same people are going to be under a lot of pressure to perform in this final leg of the season, with teams starting to shorten their rotations a bit, kind of get those playoff lineups, in motion a bit. Some of the better teams may even start to rest a bit. If you look at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's going to be a dogfight to the end. I don't think no one's going to be doing any resting. I think those particular teams, it's going to be all out war. So the Pelicans got to put their best foot forward. Like, you got to, I'm talking about diving on the floor. No, ain't no more fucking 2 rebound games if you're Zion. Ain't no more 1, 2, 3-point attempt games if you're Brandon Ingram. The Pelicans got to show up and show out, man, in this final leg of the season. Let's get right into it, pause. I'm gonna say Zion Williamson has the most pressure on him this final leg of the season. Most games he's played in quite some time. This being the final leg of the season, we're gonna have to look at how he closes, because it seemed like he was ascending before All-Star breaks. He had 4 or 5 30-point games within the last 14 games, if I'm not mistaken. So that kind of shows that he's on the incline. BI had a rough patch kind of toward the All-Star break. So I think this is a much needed break for him. Another guy who's not used to playing this many games. But for Zion specifically, he couldn't even stay out of the press, even though he had nothing to do with All-Star break. He was mentioned in the press several times, right? You got the CJ McCollum thing where he's saying, he believes Zion is serious this time. He believes Zion is going to put his best foot forward as a professional. He's playing golf. He's working out with his pops, Lee. You know what I'm saying? He's doing this thing. He's a professional. He's saying he's more confident in his professionalism now than he's been, in the past. A couple years ago, he probably couldn't have said that. But so that's something, that's words to live up to. That's words to live up to, because now you got eyes on you again. You know what I'm saying? You got eyes on you again. The national media is saying, oh, how's this team going to look at the playoffs? Can Zion, take them to the playoffs? JJ Redick had a really cool segment about Point Zion. You got Draymond Green saying the Pelicans ain't shit on TNT, sitting next to Taylor Rooks. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Taylor Rooks. But, he was, he beating his chest a little bit, saying the Pelicans ain't shit, talking to Charles Barkley. Then, it's interesting because you almost wanted the Pelicans to stay under the radar and just keep winning, keep succeeding under the radar. But it's like, nah, and then CJ, how can I forget? CJ goes out and says he don't think Minnesota or damn near any team want to see them when they're healthy. And it's like, damn, CJ. I went and looked at CJ's stats versus Minnesota this season, and CJ put up some numbers versus Minnesota this season. So he got the right to talk that shit. So, hey, we're going to see. Now you got to back it up. But for Zion, again, as I mentioned before, he got to be in the best shape of his career to close out this season, going into the playoffs. He has to continue to trend upward. Got to attack the boards. Got to have more attention to detail defensively. So he's training for that intensity. Just start to create better habits moving forward. It's very important. I still would like to see him at least attempt a couple of 3-pointers a game. Probably not going to happen, but he has to do something aside from attack the rim relentlessly, just to kind of get used to doing different things. You don't want to see him I'm breaking out this new shit in the playoffs, and then he doesn't really have hasn't really created habits of doing it, hasn't really created situational awareness where breaking out that 3-point jumper or doing certain things is necessary. So you don't want to see him learning that on the fly. It's better that he does that now. Work on your floater now. Implement that mid-range jumper now. Implement that taking a couple threes now. Knock down your free throws now. Rebound the ball now. That way you're building up some runway to the playoffs. Brandon Ingram, another guy, Brandon Ingram has had an interesting season. He had a bit of an up and down season so far, but I think some of that in the latter parts, probably in February or so, is tired legs. I think tired legs definitely contribute to that somewhat. You got to remember, Brandon Ingram played 45 games last year, and a lot of them games, probably most of those games, came after he was resting for 2 months. So I think we saw the best version of Brandon Ingram last season. A lot of that due to him being able to rest while everyone else was still playing. So now that they're all still playing, everyone has about the same amount of rest. I'm very interested in seeing how he'll recover and if he'll show more of a willingness to take those threes and, willingness to return to attacking the rim and drawing contact and getting to the free throw line. I do think that rest for him was really needed. Hopefully, him and Zion did the right thing during those breaks, but it's a lot of pressure on Brandon Ingram as well. He's not a guy who's been mentioned much in the media, so the expectations aren't necessarily on him, but I do think locally there's quite a bit of pressure on him as well. I think he'll rise to the occasion. I do think sometimes you need a chance to sit back, look at everything, analyze everything, and say, okay, here's why I went wrong. This is what I need to be doing now. And I think, this break is a great opportunity for him with that. Another person with a ton of pressure on them, Trey Murphy. Ton of pressure on Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy, 30-year guy, had a really dope return initially, but it's kind of been, peaks and valleys. And those valleys, they lasted a little bit. So I do think he's another person who was rounding the turn a bit toward All-Star break. Now he's hopefully got his legs under him and he's seeing, things was going on. And last year, Trey Murphy came out after All-Star break like gangbusters. He was incredible after All-Star break. And I'm hoping for the same thing this year. I'm hoping now that he's got his confidence back. I'm sure he put in a lot of work in the gym. I hope that some of the guys were working out together, building more of that continuity. And I'm looking for a really good close for Trey Murphy. And I'm sure he's going to be looking for that as well because he's trying to get paid, trying to get that money this year, man. I'm sure he really don't want to have to kick the can to next year and possibly enter a restricted free agency. I'm sure he would just like to get that settled and done with now. And I'm sure the team would love to be confident enough in him to get that done now. So he's another guy with a ton of pressure on him, man. A ton of pressure. I believe he'll figure it out, though. I also believe he'll figure it out. Willie Green's another person with a ton of pressure on him to fix his rotations. Add Jordan Hawkins back into the lineup. You got, again, national guys, Zach Lowe. He's representing like, Jordan Hawkins barely plays. A lot of people are starting to take notice that Jordan Hawkins isn't getting any rotational minutes. And it's also time for Willie Green to start kind of crafting that playoff rotation. And I do think Jordan Hawkins desperately needs to be in that rotation. I don't believe his confidence will be killed, but if you're not going to play him, just send him to the G League. He needs to be playing some minutes somewhere, man. He needs to be getting some run somewhere, getting his conditioning built up somewhere. The only positive in Jordan Hawkins not getting a lot of minutes is that he probably won't run into that proverbial rookie wall at this point because, he hasn't played enough minutes to really, hit that mark. But Willie Green, he has to be a lot sharper with his rotations. I'm hoping we've seen an end to the Zion substitution at 6 minutes. I'm not optimistic, but I'm hopeful. He has to be a lot sharper with his timeout management, just recognizing what's happening in the game, knowing when to call challenges. He has to be a lot sharper. I hope he's another person who's had an opportunity to sit back and analyze what he's done wrong in the first half of this season because the Pelicans, they left a lot of money on the table. And depending on how you want to look at it, that's a positive because you can say, hey, we haven't seen the best version of this team yet because there are things they can correct and there are people who can get better. The negative is you could ask yourself realistically, how much better can those people get within this calendar year, within this season? That's a different, scenario, but who knows? I do think Willie Green Willie Green's stubborn. I don't have a ton of hope for Willie Green. Willie Green is a very stubborn person, man. And I'm sure he's another person who's not going to be thrilled with all this talk of Point Zion. In fact, he might just do away with that shit just to just to be spiteful. Like that's just how Willie Green seems to be real. You know what I'm saying? But let me know what you guys think, man. It's been today's show. Who do you think is under the most pressure in this final leg of the season leading up to the playoffs? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.